had to just wait and see what the truth was before attacking her. Her employer at Bellevue Hospital was immediately contacted. She was placed on leave pending an investigation. Now her attorney is looking to potentially sue media outlets that propagated false allegations about his client.
Including TYT, including the media outlet where you work for, including who? All right, this is Anna Kasparian. All right, this is a very intelligent woman. All right. She can be balanced and also very imbalanced in some way, if you know what I mean. You will see what I mean in this video. Anna, sometimes she come out and tells it like it is. Sometimes there is the identity politics and stuff like that. And I guess she doesn't always say it like it really is. But I noticed lately she's been saying things and talking about things that a lot of people are not talking about, coming from the left. And I hear some common sense in Anna a lot more than I hear from a lot of others. So I have to give her some credit. Even though I did not agree with this video when she went after the people that were calling her out about her behavior and also abortion in the Bible, she went a little crazy. But listen to this.
These comments might be strong, but it's how I genuinely feel. I don't care that you're a Christian. I don't care what the Bible says. Like, I feel like it's a clown show, like sitting here trying to decipher what your little mythical book has to say about these very real political issues, right? I don't care if you're Christian. In fact, I will fight for you to have your religious liberty and practice your Christianity. I believe in that. I don't believe in Christianity, which means that you do not get to dictate the way I live my life based on your religion. I don't care what the Bible says. You have every right in the world. All those women who identify with your religion have every right in the world to not get an abortion, to not take birth control, but they do not have the right to dictate my life and what I decide to do with my body. I don't care about your goddamn religion. I'm so tired of having nonstop conversations about what the Bible says. Uber has placed.
Okay, that was Anna when she lost it, but I did a video about that, so I'm not gonna talk about this anymore. Here's the thing. This is Anna now, talking about Karen. Listen, she's making sense. I was like, yo, what done happened? You go, girl. Listen.
Uber has placed Bo Young Lee, its head of diversity, on leave after she moderated a couple of employee events that made the horrifying mistake of including the perspectives of white female employees. After several years of diversity, equity, and inclusion trainings, making it clear that the inclusion part is really meant to exclude the participation of white women, some employees at Uber didn't take kindly to the sudden paradigm shift. Backlash from Uber workers who felt the topic was insensitive spooked the company's execs, who immediately decided to place Lee on leave. Now, the future of their longtime diversity, equity, and inclusion chief is uncertain. The New York Times writes that employees' concerns centered on a pair of events that were billed as diving into the spectrum of the American white woman's experience and hearing from white women who work at Uber with a focus on the Karen persona. They were intended to be an open and honest conversation about race, according to the invitation. Employees turned to the company's Slack to complain and express that they didn't like that some of their white colleagues saw Karen as a derogatory term. But as we all know, Karen absolutely is a derogatory term.
Yes, it is.
Are we really gonna pretend like it's not? Employees felt the event organizers were minimizing racism and the harm white people can.
This is what I love about when she does this, okay? She's owning it, all right? And I love that. Doesn't mean she's flawless, nobody is. But the thing is, when you can bypass your political view and tell the truth, I respect you.
Employees felt the event organizers were minimizing racism and the harm white people can inflict on people of color by focusing on how Karen is a hurtful word, according to messages and an employee who attended the events.
Oh my Lord.
Well,
Silly.
it's a derogatory term.
Simple as that.
That's why it's used in a derogatory sense after
Yes.
someone is perceived to have engaged in bad behavior. Now, the controversy didn't die down. Weeks later, the Karen conundrum was aired in a company-wide meeting. Several weeks after the first event, a Black woman asked during an Uber all-hands meeting how the company would prevent tone-deaf, offensive, and triggering conversations from becoming a part of its diversity initiatives. Lee replied, arguing that while the discussions can sometimes feel uncomfortable, they were important and necessary to have. Sometimes being pushed out of your own strategic ignorance is the right thing to do. That's what she said. Now, as you can imagine, that comment did not really do much to calm the situation down and instead sparked additional outrage and complaints to executives. So Lee decided to hold a second event, which was intended.
Well, Lee is finding out many of those liberals are the modern day racists today. But we've said this. I've said this on the channel. All right, some of the worst thing that could have happened to America are many white liberals. All right, many professed liberals who acting as if they want to root out racism, but they themselves in nature are the real racists. They are the one pushing this thing. They are the one acting like, oh, we want Black people to be free. We want you guys to have all these freedoms. But at the same time, no accountability, no real help, no teaching our children how to have serious values, not building the family structures, not helping our children in any way with their spiritual position. None of that. Devaluing the man, promoting some of the women, the Black women, and glorifying independence, glorifying a single life, and leaving our youth to themselves. The same white liberals will tell you that they love Black people. It's like, okay, funny.
To be a dialogue where employees could express how they felt about what they heard during the first event. But that led to even more complaints.
You cannot satisfy the group. You should know that by now.
In Slack, groups for Black and Hispanic employees at Uber fumed that instead of a chance to provide feedback or have a dialogue, they were instead being lectured about their response to the initial "Don't Call Me Karen" event.
That's the best way to red pill a Democrat, is to give them what they want. You know, they want to push for all this. You find out real quick. You find out real quick how cruel some of these people are once you stop doing things their way.
One person wrote, "I felt like I was being scolded for the entirety of that meeting." Another employee took issue with the premise that the term Karen shouldn't be used. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. In the workplace, you shouldn't be calling your coworkers Karens.
Period.
It's just not a good idea.
No, it's not.
And by the way, just let that sink in for a moment. Employees were openly angry that they couldn't use a derogatory word against some of their colleagues.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like saying calling somebody the N-word shouldn't be a problem in the workplace. Karen is the new N-word. Don't you know that? For white women, don't you know that? Somebody said, what about white men? What do you call them? Well, they call them straight white males already. So that's already bad enough. But I heard somebody said Kevin. I'm like, y'all better back off. I have a cousin named Kevin. Don't play with me. Anyway.
This type of work environment is just fantastic. I mean, it's not hostile at all.
Not at all.
No, in response to the apparent uproar, Uber's chief executive and chief people officer sent employees an internal email and asked Bo Young Lee to step back and take a leave of absence while they determine next steps. The email also let employees know that, quote, "We have heard that many of you are in pain and upset by yesterday's moving
In pain? Oh, stop.
forward session. While it was meant to be a dialogue, it's obvious that those who attended did not feel heard."
Oh, stop.
Look, I gotta be honest, simply treating employees equally and providing a space for some to gently push back on the Karen narrative is nothing compared to the several years people have been consuming speeches like the one Dr. Aruna Kilanani gave at Yale in 2022.
I had the fantasies of unloading a revolver into the head of any white person that got in my way, daring their body.
Ooh, listen to that. I had fantasies. Oh, Lord. She still got her job, I'm sure. She is still praised. Promoting violence against white people is perfectly fine. But did you hear that video of that, what is it, that sports individual, I forgot his name, who said the N-word accidentally and he was fired? He didn't even mean to say it, man. He didn't mean this was an accident, man. But, I mean, we call people N-word all the time. And now look at this. And that is crazy to me. But again and again, do you see the inconsistencies here? I'm just saying. Can we talk about the value of humanity for a bit?
And wiping my bloody hands as I walked away relatively guiltless. With a bounce like that. Like I did the world a favor.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just want to reiterate what you heard there. The audio wasn't great, so just in case you didn't hear it. During a speech at Yale in April of 2022, Dr. Aruna Kilanani said, and I quote, "I had fantasies of unloading a revolver into the head of any white person that got in my way, burying their body and wiping my bloody hands as I walked away relatively guiltless with a bounce in my step, like I did the world an effing favor."
Wow. And that's not racism. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay, now that might seem like a bizarre, isolated incident, and to be honest, the rhetoric there is rare. I haven't heard.
Listen, Anna, we've been talking about this for a while. We Christians been pushing against racism. We've been speaking against abolishing every spirit of that, at the same time knowing human nature. And at the same time, a lot of Republicans been preaching this. And sometimes you've been coming out saying, oh, Republicans, you guys don't get it, yada, yada. It's like, no, now you're realizing what we were saying? Just saying. This stuff is wild.
Heard rhetoric that extreme, but there is an entire industry where authors and academics make a killing conducting trainings that simply tell white workers to shut their mouths and take kindly to hours of being told they're all the same.
I love when she speaks the truth, man. She's a smart woman. When she doesn't get wrapped up in the political identity politics, she doesn't get wrapped up in calling people's name. She doesn't get wrapped up in her supposed, Trump derangement syndrome. When they can get bypast that and look at the facts for what they are, these people can see the light. They can see the light. I mean, it's not hard to tell. All you have to look at is look at the facts for what they are and value human beings. You will see how easy it is. But when you start identifying with one group and reject the other group, pointing finger at each other, you can't see it. But it's very obvious what's going on here.
They're all racist. They're all hateful. They all deserve what.
Say that again.
Tell white workers to shut their mouths and take kindly to hours of being told they're all the same. They're all racist. They're all hateful. They all deserve what's coming to them. And it should come to no surprise that DEI trainings like this have led to lawsuits because they include, discrimination.
That's weird.
In 2020, at least half.
DEI is supposed to be diversity, equality, and inclusion. Some people say equity, but inclusion does not include white people. Okay. You guys are very inclusive.
A dozen people who had been employed by the New York City Department of Education filed lawsuits or won settlements in cases relating to mandatory DEI trainings. What I'm also not surprised about is how lucrative this industry is. After George Floyd's murder, as companies faced pressure to demonstrate a commitment to racial justice, interest in diversity, equity, and inclusion exploded. The American market reached an estimated $3.4 billion in 2020 alone.
Wow. Did you hear about Black Lives Matter kind of like filing for bankruptcy in a way because they lost the money, mismanagement, misappropriation of funds? Well, that's been going on. We got a video coming up about that. Nothing new here, nothing to see here. But here's the thing. This doesn't shock me because this diversity, equality, and inclusion supposed movement has identified with the civil rights movement. So people who in their sexuality has now made it look like sexuality or gay or lesbian, LGBTQ is the new black. The same issues that black people had to go through in the past, the gays and the lesbians are saying we are the same. And guess what? I spoke about this. There was another video. Guess who's now coming in for the party? MAPS, minor attracted person. Child predators were saying, make room for me too. So it's like, yo, do you see where this is going?
Take Syra Rao and Regina Jackson as just one example. They run a business called Race to Dinner, and wealthy white women across the country pay them handsomely to come to their dinner parties to bash the host and her white friends as racist.
I spoke about this, deconstructing Karens. They made them they made themselves to Dr. Phil show. They got their own TV show, and the whole idea is to help white women realize how racist they are and lecture them. I told you this stuff was crazy.
They do this without knowing anything about the dinner guests, without ever having interacted with them.
Nope.
All they know about these individuals is the color of their skin, and automatically they assume these white women have anti-black prejudice in their hearts. How much do they charge? Well, if you ask me, a lot. Each dinner party initially cost $2,500 total, but the rate increased to $5,000 in 2020. Gee, I wonder why. The funds cover a 2-hour dinner, which includes support from Race to Dinner's business developer, planning, travel for Jackson and Rao, and, when applicable, a post-event consultation. The cost of food was not included in the original dinner party fee. This is the perfect example of a DEI-related grift that allows economically privileged women to engage in performative
She's spitting fire. She's spitting fire.
Acts to feel like they're doing their part to fight racism. Of course, they're not actually doing anything to fight racism at all. And if they want to pay for that, great. But the Race to Dinner ladies have also published books and even put out a movie called Deconstructing Karen. As a result, their simplified portrayal of white women seeps into the public consciousness and discourse. Their words, as void of evidence as they may be, are treated as fact. But don't worry, they also think immigrants to America are automatically anti-black racists as well.
Syra will generally say that she is anti-black, and everybody will pivot towards me. And I go, well, and black people know it. The gig is up. We know that every person who comes to this country as an immigrant believes themselves to be better than us.
Based on
She is such a racist woman.
What evidence is there that immigrants come into the country and automatically see themselves as higher up the food chain or the hierarchy than black people? There's no evidence of that. Look, I think this discourse has had a devastating impact on the country because when you—
As an immigrant, that's actually the exact opposite. We feel like we don't belong. We hide from the conversation. We don't want to get into this stuff. Like I myself, like we're very introvert. We don't even, please keep us away from some of this stuff. We just want to live, take care of our families, help those that we left behind, and make sure our children has a better future, because the country where we came from, they did not have anywhere near the opportunity that we have in this country. That's how we think as immigrants. But the race monglers think we thinking like the race monglers. We're not race monglers, race hustlers. Real immigrants actually understand and value America because they know what suffering and injustice is like in their own country. When they come here, they plan on doing something. That's why immigrants do really well in this country. All right, they come with a different perspective. But hey.
You mix business interests with the branding of social justice, chances are the objective is really about profit rather than actually addressing systemic issues. And if the main problem is systemic racism, why are we all engaging in this toxic witch hunt? Sussing out people we perceive to be problematic does nothing to address racism in our criminal justice system.
Woo! You got my attention. She's spitting fire. Like, I don't know what done happened to Anna. Like, maybe this is a little wake up call. Maybe something happened. Something touched her. I don't know. Maybe it's the Holy Spirit. Who knows? Something happened. She's now realizing some of these people are racist. The people that are pushing to fight against racism, all the real racists in this country, they are digging for it and they are creating it and reviving it, resurrecting racism. And they say, we're fighting against racism. It's like, yo, they are the racist. They are the ones we're looking for.
It does not.
I want to hear that again. I know that was well said.
And if the main problem is systemic racism, why are we all engaging in this toxic witch hunt? Sussing out people we perceive to be problematic does nothing to address racism in our criminal justice system. It does nothing to improve educational curriculum in our schools. And it fails to ensure that people of color have equal opportunities to wealthier white people. We've been conditioned to think that generalizations about entire groups of people is somehow okay, as if it doesn't contradict the fight against racism. We've taken the bait in this extremely successful divide and conquer strategy. And to be honest, I've been struck by how effortlessly callous the online discourse has become.
She's on fire right now. She's on fire. We've taken the bait on this. Oh my goodness.
I've been against racism. We've taken the bait in this extremely successful divide and conquer strategy. And to be honest, I've been struck by how effortlessly callous the online discourse has become.
Wake up, sister. It's been going on. It's been going on. And that's what we've been talking about that. We've been trying to tell you people. Listen, man, some of these people that are fighting against racism are the real racists, and they are very cold and callous and very inhumane in their hearts. And they act like they love America, but they destroy America. They're fascists. They are the Communist Party 101 in this country, okay? They are the American Marxists in this country. But they act like they are trying to help you, but they are really hurting you. When a black person dies, they come out in droves. Black people kill black people? Nobody said nothing. Black people kill a white person? Local news. But a white man or a cop kill a black man? Mainstream news. Everybody scream. The world is ending. These are the racists. Because they're not addressing the real issues. They don't care about the people. They don't care about black people. They don't care about white people either. What they care about is a narrative. And what the goal is to divide and conquer. You figure it out. Girl, you smart.
Any out of context viral video that features a conflict with a white woman is automatically considered.
Ooh, this is a shift. This is a shift. Now she's taking a jab at one of her own, which is Rashard Lewis. People in the comments who love Rashard Lewis, going after me and stuff. Oh, Rashard Lewis could do no wrong. No, you know what that is called? That's called personality cult. You worship the man because of his character, because you have a relationship with them. You cannot call them out on their hypocrisy. Guess what she's about to do? She works with him. They work for the same company. Guess what she's about to do?
Evidence of a racist act.
Listen to it again.
The online discourse has become. Any out of context viral video that features a conflict with a white woman is automatically considered evidence of a racist act, even before we have all the details. The latest example involved a pregnant hospital worker named Sarah Comrie in New York. She was captured on video during an argument she had with a black man over a city bike in Manhattan. The man claimed that he paid for the bike rental, but Comrie disagreed.
No, record him, record him. Help me! Please help me! This is not your bike. Please help me! This is not your bike. Please help me! Help! Please get off me! What's going on?
The dominant online narrative was that this racist pregnant woman tried to steal a bike from a black man and then made herself out to be a victim with her white tears. Her attorney later provided receipts claiming that she in fact paid for the bike, but it felt like no one thought it might be a good idea to just wait and see what the truth was before attacking her. Her employer at Bellevue Hospital was immediately contacted. She was placed on leave pending an investigation. Now her attorney is looking to potentially sue media outlets that propagated false allegations about his client.
Including TYT, including the media outlet where you work for, including who? Rashard Ricci. Yeah, he did come out with an apology video, and I respect him for that, all right? Very few have the heart to do it, but I wonder, did it sound like somebody was trying to avoid a defamation lawsuit? But that's what it sounded like to me. It was an opinion based. We're not here. We're not doing this because we have. So in other words, you're giving your opinion, you don't have facts. So that means we shouldn't really believe everything you say, Mr. Rashard Ricci. This is an important and a smart individual making these mistakes. And when I call them out on that, people in the comments get all upset. Oh, Richard Richie has done so many good things for the community. You don't have the right. Show me your receipts. What great things you've done. First of all, the things that I do, I will never tell you. The things that I do on private, I don't even tell you where I preach. I don't even tell you where my church is. Because what I do on YouTube is YouTube. What I do at home with my family, I keep that away from. Now, I will tell people if they ask me in private. I don't mind sharing it with you. But the thing is, I live a different life. YouTube is not my life. So I get off YouTube. There are things that I do, real things that I do. And I don't tell people about this. So people will go, I'm going to go and show my receipts and the things that I do. Like, that's silly. Are you saying nobody can criticize a man because he's done great things in the world? Listen, I criticize the Pope. I go after people who are doing the wrong thing. John the Baptist called Herod to repentance. You guys don't know what you're talking about. And no man is infallible. Because Dr. Richard Richie was wrong for peddling racism before the facts. Period. Calling her Karen. He had somebody on there calling her a pregnant thug. And you want to justify these behaviors? Now, he came back and apologized, and I give him respect for that. Godly respect. I still believe the motivation was wrong, but nevertheless, he did it. Respect. Let it go. I believe in forgiveness. But y'all are in the comment going crazy, trying to justify the behavior of the man as if he cannot make mistake. You guys are, you got what is known as personality cult behavior. You're worshiping the personality of an individual. You should not do that. That's idolatry. Just saying.
But we still don't know the full story. And it's better to wait and see how this develops before people try to destroy a stranger's life and livelihood.
That's what I said. I told you, I love me Anna Kasparian when she speaks the truth. Unashamed. This is nothing but truth. I'm not hearing anything here that's political. There is nothing here that is, no, this is truth for what it is. Okay? So that tells me some of these people are very intelligent people. I think sometimes they play the game as if they can't see it. They fall into identity politics. I think they submit their own conscience against reality because they refuse not to go along with the group think. But when you listen to Anna talking, you could tell some of these people like herself, they know the truth.
So do we feel better about racism in America today?
No.
It certainly feels like we're becoming more divided. We're definitely more obsessed with whipping out our phones to surveil one another because God forbid we fail to capture one of our peers in their worst moments. Simply put, I absolutely loathe this crap. Oof. And I can't pretend like I'm above it because I engaged in a lot of it myself.
My respect for Anna just went from 3 to 7. That's great because those leftists, I usually don't even listen to them. All right. There are a few that I do. All right. But for the most part, I'm like, yo, you guys are just, you leaning too far left, man. But you see what she just said here? When a person talks like that, I give her, I forgive her of her remarks about the Bible. What she said about the Bible and my Jesus. You know what? Anna, we're going to put this behind us. This
practice your
you see?
Christianity.
Yeah.
I believe in that. I don't believe in Christianity, which means that you do not get to dictate the way.
Anna, I love you. I don't care what you said about the Bible. It's okay. You were upset. All right. These people made you upset. I get it. These people online can drive us crazy. I'm online, so I see what it is. That remark you just made here, you just touched my heart in a very special way. Listen to this.
In their worst moments. Simply put, I absolutely loathe this crap. And I can't pretend like I'm above it because I engaged in a lot of it myself.
Confession. Can somebody say amen? When a person does this, I get happy. That means they are owning it. They are realizing, woe is me, I am undone. I am part of the problem. This is confession. It's good for the soul. This is when you do stuff like that, even God is happy because he can work with you. But when we hide, we act like we are perfect. We can't do no wrong. Rashard Ritchie will never say this. I have never heard it from him. He does not have the humility to do this. That takes humility. That means you have to humiliate yourself. That means you have to put yourself in the dirt. You have to rub your mouth to the dirt and say, you know what, I've engaged in this, man. That was wrong. But now I'm waking up. I love this is great. This has made my day. Those remarks just made my day.
And I have deep regrets about that. Karen hunting is a...
Oh, please, let me hear it one more time. Please forgive me for being so excited here. You have to understand, as a Christian, when I can get a person to acknowledge their sins, when I'm having Bible study with people or I'm in the streets trying to share the gospel with people and they can actually acknowledge their sins, they can say, you know what, man, I was wrong for this. That's like the door has been opened for the gospel, for the cross, for salvation, for forgiveness. Because when that is done, listen, man, we hug each other. When that is done, love, forgiveness, and peace floods the heart. But oftentimes we cover up, sugarcoat, we dance, we do backflips, we do mental gymnastics, but we refuse to acknowledge how wrong we can be and how racist we could be and how we've engaged in this stuff. She just owned it, and she said she regrets it.
Crap. And I can't pretend like I'm above it because I engaged in a lot of it myself.
Wow.
And I have deep regrets about that. Karen hunting is a destructive symptom of the powerlessness people feel.
Karen hunting. Wow, what a new term.
Karen hunting is a destructive symptom of the powerlessness people feel as they're more atomized and alienated from those around them. It's the abscess that forms from the lack of an organized movement that values the humanity of individuals while fighting institutions that propagate inequality.
That was deep. I want to hear that again.
It's the abscess that forms from the lack of an organized movement that values the humanity of individuals while fighting institutions that propagate inequality.
Oh, I'm done. She got me going crazy over here. I need to write this one down. Oh my Lord. Karen hunting is what?
It's the abscess that forms from the lack of an organized movement that values the
abscess that form from the lack of an organized movement
humanity of individuals
that values the humanity of individuals
while fighting institutions that propagate inequality.
Girl, that was deep. Listen, I'm gonna be quoting that. Okay. Karen hunting. She just gave me a definition to Karen hunting from a way I never saw it before. Is the axis that formed? That formed from the lack of an organized movement that value the individuals while fighting institutions that propagate inequality. I came to this video today not knowing what to expect. I saw this video. She's talking about Don't Call Me Karen. I said, oh, I'm going to check this out. I did not listen to it. And I said, boy, I did not realize this was going to be this good. My respect for Anna just went from 3 to 7. That's great. Literally great. That means I'm going to listen to some of the things she has to say. I know she's going to do some things too that I know. Listen, no person is converted over time. But at least there's common sense here. There's wisdom. There's honesty here, okay? There's ownership, there's confession. When a person does that, let's give them some godly respect.
It's what happens when society fails to understand the critical nature of solidarity in fighting systems of oppression. The Karen narrative flattens an entire category of people, white women, as malignant members of society whose toxicity lay dormant until they're in the presence of people of color. It's ridiculous. But back to DEI trainings. Is there any evidence that they even work? Well, over the years, social scientists who have conducted careful reviews of the evidence base for diversity training have frequently come to discouraging conclusions. Though diversity training workshops have been around in one form or another since at least the 1960s, few of them are ever subjected to rigorous evaluation, and those that are mostly appear to have little or no positive long-term effects. The lack of evidence is disappointing, wrote Elizabeth Levy-Palak of Princeton and her co-authors in a 2021 annual review of psychology article considering the frequency with which calls for diversity training emerge in the wake of widely publicized instances of discriminatory conduct. In fact, there are unfortunately even some studies that indicate these trainings could be causing more harm than good.
Exactly.
I mean, certainly if you're being told by your colleagues that you're automatically a bad person and you're very likely racist because of the color of your skin, gonna cause some hostility in the workplace.
Yeah, that's called common sense, Anna. It's not that hard to figure out. Thank you for saying that.
No. Now, in the case of DEI, Dr. Dobbin and Dr. Kalev warn that diversity training that is mandatory or that threatens dominant groups' sense of belonging or makes them feel blamed may elicit negative backlash or exacerbate biases. Yeah. I mean, no surprise there. So if employers insist on DEI trainings, they shouldn't shun discussions that are actually inclusive. But personally, I'd rather encourage employees to go out and grab a drink together after work. They should bond and get to know each other without a third-party mediator making money off of their interactions. And employees should understand that any effort to improve their working conditions and to do something about actual systemic racism as a whole is reliant on solidarity with their fellow coworkers.
Wow.
Despite the protests, I think Uber's diversity chief had the right idea. If you're going to implement diversity, equity, and inclusion trainings at the workplace, they should be inclusive of everyone's thoughts, feelings, and participation.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks.
Anna Kasparian, that was amazing. Enough said, the video is long enough. I could not believe my ears. Guys, didn't she make sense? Wasn't she speaking the truth? Wasn't this exactly what we needed to hear? Friends, I'm telling you, this was amazing. This was an amazing study, an amazing analogy, an amazing monologue. Her analysis was on point. And I'm just so, I'm baffled. I'm baffled that I'm hearing this coming from her. I know she's an intelligent woman. She can think, but sometimes she chooses not to. But in this one, she did. Great job. Great job, Anna. Thumbs up, girl. Thumbs up. You just earned some serious respect from me and many others as well. The solution to racism is very simple. Thou shalt love thy neighbor. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. And the first is like unto the great. This is the first and great commandment. The second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So, loving your neighbor as yourself is the solution to racism. That's it. You love people because they're people, man. You love people because they were made in the image of God. You love people not because of their sexual orientation, their skin color, none of that. None of this stuff matters. What matters is the humanity of each individual because they were created by God. And if you and I could simply get this in this culture, these conversation about racism will be done like today. But again, look at the process. You must love God, and then you love your neighbor. So that means not loving God will automatically result in you not loving me not loving you. It's that serious of a thing. So the way you deal with this issue is, number one, the people must love God. Because when you love God, you understand humanity. You understand man's value. You understand our differences, and you're able to appreciate that. And then you can put up with each other and work with each other no matter what this difference might be. And then you can love me regardless of who I am and what I've done. You can hold me accountable. You can tell me the truth. This is all part of love as well. But what we're doing today is not love, it's tolerance. What we're doing today is special privilege. What we're doing today is promoting racism, where we are trying to deconstructive racism, right? We're trying to deconstruct racism, but we are really promoting it. But Anna was on point. She done do the preaching. I'm just going to end this video. Thank you for listening. God bless you. Have a good one. Bye.